and gentlemen, let's go. Gaming, tech, culture. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. You're listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast, presented by Say What Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 27 of the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. This is Cobalt. I am your host, Jules. We have our co-host that everybody loves and is the best. All right. Thought you were going to introduce yourself, but...
I'm sorry. That tickled me. I'm sorry. Got your girl, Justice. I'm going to have that recorded and played every time I'm about to walk into a room. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. That'll work. So, Justice, it's been a while.
It's been a minute. People have been asking what happened to Cool Black Nerd, and it was just like, hey, 2021, things happened.
Yeah.
That was it.
Things happen. We're still here, though. Stuff happens in life. Not that anything bad happened. Let me say that.
No.
Nothing bad happened.
Timing. That's all.
Yeah. So it's all good. We're back. We're ready to get going with some new episodes for you guys. And I think we can just hop right on out the gate here.
Do it.
And,
Let's do it.
All right. So, yeah. So right out the gate, Steam. Everybody that plays games is probably familiar with Steam, especially if you're playing games on PC, right? Steam is a pretty good little platform, allows you to purchase games. It helps you keep track of a library. In general, I think they do a pretty good job of just being a pretty engaging store for games. Like you can have your little avatars, you can share screenshots, share your videos. They have achievements and stuff like that. So in general, it's a pretty cool place. But lately, there have been some smaller developers like indie developers, which in general, Steam is actually very good about helping those kind of developers out with Steam Early Access, so people can purchase and play games before they're technically fully ready for like a full release, but you can get a great idea of what these games are going to be like. And you've seen some great success, like with Valhalla, like that game was in early access, and in early access, it's probably selling more than like some AAA games, right? But we have an example of a small developer put out a game, like a horror game. It's kind of like one of those story-based horror games that people are like right now. They're actually pretty popular. But this game is a little less than 2 hours long. And for Steam, that leads to a problem.
It's not actually a problem that you would think about as a consumer who is legit. Let's say that.
Yeah. Somebody who would purchase a game and keep it and not seek a refund for no reason.
Yeah. But I mean, you have those idiots out there. Got to mess it up for everybody.
So the issue is Steam has a return policy, just a blanket return policy for all games. Once you purchase them, you have a 2-hour window, no questions asked, to get a refund after you purchase a game. So in this particular case, and in some other cases too, obviously, when a game is shorter than 2 hours, people can purchase the game, play it to completion. And I believe in this particular case, you said people were actually leaving a positive review and then getting a refund on the game.
It's crazy. So as Jules said, a lot of the times on Steam, you're able to find these kind of like niche games that you wouldn't be able to find in a lot of places. There are other ways to do this. Of course, you have the Epic's platform or the Ubisoft stuff, but that's mainly for AAA titles and things like that. They rarely have areas for smaller developers. Steam gets flack for their percentage they take and everything like that. But honestly, if you want your stuff to be known, you kind of go to Steam. It's just kind of the way it is. So Amica Games, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a one-man studio.
Right. Yeah. That's the impression that I got is literally one guy. Yeah.
They've been putting out, he's been putting out about one game a month or something like that. And they've been really engaging kind of like experiences for about an hour and a half or so. And not everybody is wanting to plop down $60 to do weeks, depending on how you play, of gameplay. Some people just kind of want to get into it, be immersed, and be done. And the games that they put out aren't, I believe, over $10. But you have people who have actually gone out. And if you look at all of the games that Amica Games has actually put out, every single one has had either very positive or positive reviews on them. But what they were showing is a lot of those people who did the positive reviews honestly turned around and just got the refund for the game and was like, what the hell? And it's just a loophole of the policy by Steam who kind of had it based off of these other titles that where you're playing hours and hours. Just like if you've gotten into it an hour and you really don't like it, okay, let me get my money back. But if the game is over in an hour, people are taking advantage of that. Now, what's your take on that? Let me ask that first.
I think that there should probably be a different policy for shorter games, but I say that recognizing that if I'm Steam, that means I have to put in more resources into verifying what is and what is not a short or a long game, right? Because even games that are intended to be over 2 hours, there's probably a possibility that I could just rush through a game and get it finished. And then there's games that some people might take 20 minutes. Other people might take days to get it done. So I don't know what the balance is there. I'm not sure how you would find it. But I think ultimately there should probably be a different policy, or maybe there needs to be an amendment to the policy, because I'm pretty sure Steam can tell if you've completed a game or not, right? Okay, well, most games have an achievement that you get after you beat the game. Steam knows you got that achievement. Well, so at that point to me, though, I'm saying like if you get that achievement, maybe you're not able to get the refund, and it's just on the developer to have an achievement in the game that says, hey, this person beat the game.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It would be on the developer to do all of that. And honestly, every single thing that is listed that you're able to accomplish, buy, or have access to is because on the back end side, the developer has listed all of this. I think if you had something that was like a check mark, this is like a 2-hour experience or something like that, maybe that would work. But again, that goes back to you saying Valve basically putting in more time to develop yet more checks and balances, artificial intelligence to understand what is happening on their end for that, what they've already done. But I'm also kind of like, you knew this 2-hour policy going in, dude, and you still made a 1.5-hour game. And that was a possibility. When you saw it happening on the first game you put out, you still did it on the next game. So I'm kind of going like, you don't want to put this out, make this game 2 hours and 5 minutes, nothing. But his thing is, I don't want to prolong the game artificially and ruin the experience. I'm like, well, they ruin the experience for you. I'm like, I need you to think about you a little bit more, or add in some puzzles or so, I don't know. That would make it just a little bit more over that 2 hours. I understand wholeheartedly, and this is a loophole, but you knew this going in. It's kind of like for people who order from Amazon and you stay in an apartment complex and you know nobody is there to pick up your packages. You don't have a front office or something. You know that either you're going to have it delivered to someone else, or you run the risk of somebody just walking off with your stuff. I need you to kind of think of some other options that you could do. I thank you so much for making these immersive, wonderful, because I actually played one of them. Great games. I wholeheartedly get that. But I need you to protect yourself a little bit better. Be a better businessman when it comes to this. You can't just go, well, this isn't fair. And I'm glad on the end, the support that came out for people after he tweeted, like, I can't do this anymore. It just sucks that I keep putting out these games and I'm getting these enormous returns, even though these people are leaving wonderful comments.
Yeah, all of the games are getting these great comments and reviews. It's one of those rare situations to me where it's like the developer is sort of at fault. You've seen this happening before, so why not make a longer game, right? On the other hand, what is his vision for his games? I mean, maybe he just doesn't want games that are that long, but if you're at 90 minutes, what's another 30? But how does that affect the quality of the game? Now that I say that, because I think about hopefully people will understand this relationship, but I think about some albums that I've listened to, like the Carter 5, like the last big new Lil Wayne album had a lot of songs on it. And I felt like a good amount of the songs were mediocre. So if those songs hadn't been there, like if it had gone from, I don't even remember how many songs it actually was, but let's say it went from 20 songs to 12, those 12 songs were all really good or great, and it would have been a really good or great album. But because he had those extra songs, it wasn't that good. So would that same thing happen with the game? Like he's got 90 great minutes of a game, and if he adds 30 just what ends up being fluff, is it still considered a good game? Maybe not. Maybe
list it as a DLC or something. I don't know. It definitely needs more planning. If you see that this is an issue,
yeah,
and a big company like Valve isn't going to take a hit for you, what can you do in the meantime? Yes, it's something that needs to be taken care of. I wholeheartedly agree. Need to be able to stop people from doing this. But Also, you don't want to have an anti-consumer policy as well. I mean, because everybody hates buying anything from PlayStation. The PlayStation Store, it does not matter if you could not download it, if you could not open it, anything. If your thing just bricked that day, as long as you clicked to download, they're like, you cannot get a refund, period.
Yeah, PlayStation ain't giving you no money back. Yeah.
I don't care.
Surprisingly, the only game they've refunded, I think, is Cyberpunk. But you got to, I'm sorry, but that game came out in a bad state. The state was so bad that PlayStation Store, who does not refund anything, gave refunds for that.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so on the flip side of that, it's like, what does Steam do? Like, they've got their policy. Everybody knows the policy, and in general, it works, right?
I definitely want to keep tabs on this. Speaking, we're game lovers, but I'm seeing both sides on this one right here. And I'm kind of more on Steam side on this. It's like, dude, we've set up all of this. You saw that this has happened, and we could step in maybe 1 or 2 times. But if you see this continuing to happen and you continue to make these games under our policy, I don't know what else to do to be able to cover you.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a policy that's been published and everybody knows it. So you got to figure that out, or not put your game on Steam, put it on a different platform that might be a little bit better for you. I don't know, Humble Bundle. That seems to be a pretty good one too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Humble Bundles. That's awesome. There you go. Yeah. I mean, at least you don't have to worry about somebody hacking your stuff and putting your game out there for free, like some
second favorite. I think it's a second favorite. Now I think Activision might be everybody's favorite.
That's true.
Everybody's second favorite game developer. So they got hacked. Why don't you tell us how they got hacked before we talk about what got stolen?
Okay. So EA, they are the greats of, if I'm not mistaken, like FIFA and the whole Madden series and things like that, and microtransactions out the yin yang. If you're a gamer, they're synonymous with just like bad consumerism when it comes to pretty much anything. So in this time of security breaches, data breaches that are happening all the time, we saw what happened in the pipeline a few months back. Not too long ago, same thing actually happened to EA. And when I heard about this, I was just like, dude, like it had to be just some Mission Impossible, Thomas Crown Affair type, Ocean's 11 type hack. That's what it had to be, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
No, somebody was able to get a hold of one cookie of a Slack ID, log in as that person, request critical network access via chat in Slack, and that was it.
All right. So for the non-technical people, explain it, because this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they were able to get in Slack and like literally just send a message to someone in Slack that said, hey, I need access. And it was granted.
Pretty much. So it essentially is like, well, and I mean, if you don't know what Slack is, it's just one of the instant messaging tools that most business companies use. It's similar to Teams, Skype, things like that. It is one of the biggest ones that came up during quarantine and things like that. But it is essentially me getting your phone, calling your mortgage company and saying, I need a key to your house, and them going, oh, here you go. Just because. They're not asking, nobody's asking no questions or why I'm asking the mortgage.
Questions asked. Oh, so you need a key? I'll put it in the mail to you right now.
Exactly. That's it. Nothing. There were no verifications, no security questions. And hell, I would have settled for that stupid, is this a road verification? Those pictures that they have, is this a boat? Is this a bridge? Something. None of that happened. None.
Oh my goodness. So turns out they actually were able to get a lot of stuff with that. So they got the source code to FIFA 2021, I think. So that's like EA's biggest game, even bigger than Madden. I know we may not believe that here in the States, but it is. It is probably their biggest game worldwide. And then they also got the source code for the Frostbite engine, which is the engine that EA uses to create all of its games, every single game. So that means that the hackers potentially were able to give people FIFA 2021 for free. And then they were also able to sell that source code for the engine to other bad actors or to anyone really. And with that information, people have the ability to create their own games using the Frostbite engine, so games that look exactly like EA games. They could create hacks for all EA games. They could do EA, unfortunately known for microtransactions. They could do things where they can give people all of the microtransaction stuff for free.
It's open season now, basically. It is honestly keys to the castle for this. I hate to compare this. CD Projekt Red, who is the company who put out Cyberpunk, actually had the exact same thing happen, but it was to a lesser extent. So it wasn't the complete source code. They had encryption on certain parts, so it's useless without it. But they were also able to get financial information for the company as well as employee information. So this sounds really bad to say. On the CD Projekt Red side, it's a lot less of an impact to the company rather than what's happened to EA, because currently right now, anything that you were doing or have done in the past is open season, that there'll be some sort of hack, exploit, or vulnerability to be exploited, because all they got to do is reverse engineer anything you did and they have everything to do it. So you would have to start from scratch and build something completely different from now until forever. So anything that you used before, you can no longer use. Whereas with CD Projekt Red, your credit about to be messed up because somebody going to buy a Zamboni or something in your name, possibly. But again, that's personally. It's not the company being like, okay, we don't know what we're supposed to do now. Like, the options that you have are just, you can no longer use anything that we've used previously before that we built this company on, period. That sounds so bad to say, but it is. It's the truth.
You're right. I mean, yeah, for consumers, the CD Projekt Red one was worse, but for a company, EA is, man, potentially, if they're smart, honestly, they'll just pay the hackers to not sell that stuff to anyone, but then to sell it back, unfortunately. And man, how do you verify that though? Jesus.
Well, see, that's the thing. They're always smart about it. They always give, oh, this is a taste of what we have. And you can verify it just from seeing portions of the source code.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, like, so if I'm EA and I'm like, okay, I see you guys are selling it for whatever, I'll give you, I don't know, $50 million to not sell it and give it back, right? How do I verify that you didn't just make a copy of it and still selling it anyway? There's no way, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. So I don't know. I'm going to say this too. There have been a lot of hacks recently and just even in the past few years. I guess for me with a lot of these hacks, my question is, as a society, like, what do you do about it? Because a lot of this is a huge problem, right? Like, people's information is getting out there. I remember when that big credit card company got hacked, Congress did an investigation. There weren't any real consequences, but they asked the CEO what he thought they should do about it. And he was like, you really just need to give everybody new social security numbers to start over. The credit reporting agency, was it Equifax or Experian that got hacked?
Okay.
And
yes.
It was like half of the United States.
Yeah.
Information was exposed.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm just saying, like, what do you do about it? And with the recent hacks that we've seen in the news, a lot of the reporting is like, these hacks are happening and they're bad, but everybody's going to forget about it in like a week.
That's the thing. It isn't until you have, like, overseas, they've been able to do some real cataclysmic stuff, like turning off power and water to cities in certain areas. So I don't think people are really going to take it seriously until that happens in a bigger city. Like, it's been in smaller cities, and it's actually happened in a few hospitals where people just click on a link and that's it. And it does not take a lot. That is, if you do not take anything else from this episode today, it does not take very much to be able to be hacked, bar some EA stuff. Don't click on suspicious links. And what I mean by suspicious links is anything from anybody you do not know. Always check, recheck again anything that has been sent to you and that has a link in it. I don't care who it is from. If you have to call that person up, and you know this is a society that does not like to call people right now and question whether or not they sent you anything with the link, do it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Even me, I've been getting like random Facebook Messenger messages from people who, you know, it looks like, oh, this is one of my childhood friends. This is my auntie. So I don't know, man. Start asking questions that you know they got. That's the wrong answer. Your friend got 4 daughters. Ask them back. Hey, how's your son doing? Yep. See how they respond. So I don't know, man. You definitely have to take the time to protect yourself. Learn how these hacks are going to happen. I mean, I don't want people to be terrified, right? Like, if there's a hack that's complicated enough or sophisticated enough, you're going to get hacked. But don't be the person that gets sent an email and it's like, hey, I need you to type your password in this box. Like, don't do that.
And the reason why I say that is this is not being spread out, but there are companies that do go after those people who initiated the hacks, who was the point of origin. Some companies, I'm not going to say some companies. I think actually every company probably would. You're going to be fired, period.
Yeah.
But also what restitution would they try to get from you for it, if that makes any sense? If that in and of itself doesn't kind of like make you want to be a little bit more vigilant when you're doing that, I don't know what else will. But I think it's a better situation than Activision too. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Okay, so we went from everybody's second favorite developer to everybody's favorite developer. So Activision, man. Oh, Activision. My, how the mighty have fallen.
Oh, my. Like Jules said, EA is hated mainly for microtransaction and the consumerism stuff that they do. Activision, they did some scummy stuff sometimes, but it was always like, I'm not as bad as EA until this lawsuit. Oh,
man. Yeah, you're right, man. EA was like the original anti-consumer company. Activision was like, you're right. We're not as bad as EA. But now, man, we're finding out that Activision has a culture problem, just rampant culture problem. And this is after all of that stuff came out before. Like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they had a huge deal with discriminating against people, pay inequality, sexual harassment problems, just all of the things that can be wrong in a workplace were wrong at Activision at that time. There was a lot of blowback. There was not a lawsuit at that time, I don't believe. But now, after they supposedly fixed all the problems, it appears that all of that stuff is continuing.
Yeah, completely. I mean, so just to give you a little bit of background on it, it is I always get this messed up. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed a lawsuit in July of this year with numerous complaints of unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation from the company. I mean, it was basically listed, and this is quote unquote in the lawsuit documents, frat boy culture and a breeding ground for harassment and discrimination against women. So they would have, was it pub crawls or forgot what it's called? Like cube crawls, where it's basically the guys are so drunk, they would be crawling around on the ground and give their work to the women. And it was like, okay, get it done. All of their work, just because they've been so shit-faced as they come in to do it. Another Black woman, anytime that she would ask to take the leave that she had, the PTO that she has accumulated, she had to write an essay as to why she was taking this off. Other times, they have what are called lactation rooms for women to be able to breastfeed their children or pump in these rooms and be isolated from everybody else, as you would, because you got your breast out trying to pump. You don't want to do that at your desk. Some people don't. Just say that. The men would kick the women out to have meetings in there. The most horrible one is a young lady took her own life after nude photographs of her were shared around a work function that she was at. She was on a trip. It was a work trip with another male coworker, and he got nude photos of her. He shared it around the entire group. I'm sorry, not the entire group, but the entire function, the males that were there. And she took her life in the hotel room. It's just, women would have like vibrators and dildos and stuff on it. It is crazy. The other one that is so sad, when they would have BlizzCon, which was an annual Blizzard event, they actually had a Cosby suite. And I say Cosby because they literally had a picture of Bill Cosby in the room and they knew what it was for. There's a text chat that they were able to get from, I believe it was 2015, maybe 2016, and showing is like, okay, we're trying to get her to the Cosby suite so we can, and this is after everything came out about Cosby or whatnot. And basically saying, you know what this is for, is to pop pills and drug women or some shit like that. It was just terrible stuff. Like, you can't make up how bad this place was. And the reaction of this was, in the beginning, Activision is going like, oh, of course we don't condone any of this. They are lying. This is blown out of proportion. Some of this stuff happened 10 years ago. And this was a woman, the head of the female alliance in Activision. Sit that out.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I do remember that.
And it just gets worse and worse from there, because that the acting president at that time said something similar, even went on to Twitter to make his case along with the other woman who was the head of the Alliance for Women at the company. They're going back and forth with people and would start blocking people who wouldn't, I guess, listen to her opinions and the barbs that she was throwing. I mean, it just got worse and worse and worse. The latest thing is that they've added new charges, the Activision lawsuit, where apparently they've been telling the employees, oh, you can't talk to the Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Talk to our lawyers first. Tell us what you're going to say and then talk to them. What the fuck? Why? How did you not think that was going to be better?
I don't know.
It was a snowball effect. I could not believe how bad this was getting for them. Because the president's gone. The lady who sent out the email, because I can't remember her name, I apologize for that, who sent out the email basically berating all of the women who this came to. She's like, well, this never happened to me here, so it's not real. It is really, really bad. And Ubisoft, which is another gaming development studio, it kind of just sounds like, in general, if you just worked at a gaming studio, it was just crap, unless you were higher up.
I mean, maybe.
Because Ubisoft was the one before that was the bad.
Yep.
Now Activision is like, hold my beer. There's a lot of people who are boycotting Activision and the games that they actually put out as far as Activision Blizzard, I'm sorry. So like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, League of Legends, all of that. People are just like, I don't want to support a company like this. Their stock has taken a nosedive, but I don't actually know if this is going to make a dent in the price because they're one of the most profitable stocks. But the way that this keeps going, getting worse and worse, you're not going to be able to pull any great talent because all the people that you had that were doing this are the ones that are accused in this lawsuit and on the way out. So who are you going to be able to pull in now?
Probably no one. I would hope no one. So what do you think? You have to change the culture of that entire company, right? Like, I feel like to fix it, you almost have to get rid of everybody at the top.
Everybody. You got
to start. Yeah, you have to start completely over.
So the CEO, that was his initial reply to it. It was a rush to file an inaccurate complaint. That was how he started off his email to the company when this first came out. But apparently now they're trying to get like secret settlements. Like I told you, speak to our lawyers first. Also sign NDAs. So you can't say anything. If you want to continue working here, you got to sign an NDA and stuff like that. Look, it's every time I thought like they couldn't get any shadier, they were like, we got another level. That was just the mid boss. You haven't even reached the big boss yet.
Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, I'm not going to say you're incorrect about that for sure. Yeah, I definitely get that. But I think at least my thought process would be by getting rid of people at the top, because those are the people who kind of set, to me, in a good company at least, those are the people who set what the culture is going to be like for a company. So as you start having less and less tolerance for what's going on there now, ultimately those people will find their way out. Like, it's definitely not an overnight thing. And I absolutely get what you're saying. Like, there would definitely be people who can try to hide who they are for as long as they can. But over time, I feel like eventually it'll just get better and better and better, hopefully. And then hopefully they'll also change some of their practices regarding microtransactions and stuff. But that's not their big problem right now.
Yeah, they got
some other
things
shit to take care of first.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but all that is, we've been talking some horrible things. I'll say that. But everything isn't bad in the tech sector or whatever. There are some good stuff coming out, depending on who you are. If you listen to this show, you clearly have a affinity for either gaming, tech, culture. So there's some good stuff coming.
So Techtober is right around the corner. I'm kind of excited about it. One of the products that I was most excited for is already out.
Really?
Yes.
What?
The Samsung Fold phones, the Z Flip and the Z Fold. Am I going to buy them? Probably not, because they're incredibly expensive. But to me, they're very cool. Like, I had a chance to play with the Fold in the past. You know how that thing was just like it was messed up. Okay, so the first Fold was really messed up. If you got dust inside the phone was going to die. So like if you put it in your pocket, you might as well throw it in the trash. But this one is not that way. Like this one now is water resistant, dust resistant, seems pretty durable. That inside folding screen, it has to fold. So it's not really like a hard cover on that, but they give you a stylus to use, which to me alleviates any problems with you accidentally breaking it yourself, pressing on it too hard. And then the other one, the Z Flip, which is kind of like, it's like those old Motorola Razors, but when you flip it open, it's just one big long screen.
Well, the Razor, the redone
the new Razor is like that.
it's like that. Yeah.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
I was really looking forward to seeing how they did the fold. Like you, I watched everything on those when they first came out and just seeing people destroy it because they didn't know, oh, you can't take that covering off. And there's nothing on it to say don't take the cover off. It's so heartbreaking to watch because that's like a $3,000 phone at that time. And they just ripped it off. And then next, you see the screen start to mess up. It was heart wrenching. But the fold, I really wasn't looking forward to like I was the flip, because the previous flip that they had, it intrigued me because I'm sorry, I don't always want to have this big ass long phone in my pocket. Having the ability to be able to flip it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. If I need to open it, yeah. And also, I don't know if this works on this phone, but I kind of miss just hanging up on people like that. Just snap.
You just want to flip somebody. Okay.
Just hang it up.
The emphasis.
Yeah.
That's because you're mean.
A little bit. Also, I was looking forward to the Nothing Ear, the headphones for those. I'm a person who loves to work out, and it's very, very hard to find earbuds that work, sound good, and are sweat resistant. And the Nothing Ear has been having like a lot of buzz. So check those out. They are a bit pricey. I will say that they're around like $200, but from everything that I'm hearing, and even when I was able to see them in the store, it wasn't Best Buy. It was like a pop-up type tech thing that I was able to go to. It was very, very cool. And it sounded really, really great. But I know everybody's not going to be able to want to spend that type of money on headphones or earbuds or anything like that. But if you want sound and you want something that actually is pretty great as far as the way it works in controls and things like that, I would definitely check out the Nothing Ear. And for my vlogger people, the face mount, it was a face tracking mount from Belkin. So, a lot of people like to either have like one of those little tripods or something that you get from Amazon for like $20. This has its Bluetooth and also, I forgot what else. What is it? Magnetic. That's what it is. So you snap it to the actual mount and you can use it if you need to for like Zoom calls or Teams calls, whatever. Mainly more, I can see this being used for more like the vloggers on YouTube or other places like that. And you kind of just sit it there. And as you move, it moves with you, which can be great if you're trying to actually do a video and not have to use one of either the remotes and try to seem all cool and not like you're doing it or whatnot. And it also gives it a little bit better quality because I know a lot of times when you put like some production into those videos, most of the time it's somebody else holding it where it looks better. Even if it's just like one of those shaky cam videos, it does just look better when you have the different angles. It just is. So I think this one was the one that I was actually looking forward to. I think it's already out, but that was the one that I was like, okay, yeah, I want to take a look at that.
You sold on it.
Already.
All right, that's what's up. For me, the thing that I'm interested in is there's these Sony speakers. And, people who know me know that I love going to the movie theater to watch movies. And a big part is just because of the sound. Like I like the feeling of having super loud speakers. You can feel the rumbling in the seats. So like Dolby Atmos is like the best movie watching experience for me. And you also know that, hey, I just love watching movies. So they have these speakers that are Dolby Atmos rated, and it's like a wireless system. So you can put these speakers around the room in your home, and it has a little control box that connects directly to your TV. And if you use a Sony TV, it can also use the speakers that are built into the TV to help improve the sound even more. And that sounds incredibly dope to me. Like I don't have to worry about running wires anywhere. I can just put the speakers wherever they need to go. It'll calibrate itself. And that sounds great. All four of the speakers have subwoofers built in, so it's going to have that bass. I want to try it out. Only downside is it's expensive.
Good sound is just like I was talking about with the earbuds.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what's coming.
Is there anything that you were kind of like, what the hell? Why is that a thing?
There is something that I'm like, what the hell? But it doesn't have anything to do with Techtober. It's the Tesla bot. Like, why do we need that? Why is that a thing, Elon Musk? I hope it's not really a thing. Like, I hope it's just some stuff that he said at a press conference. And I know they had like the little person wearing a suit come out there, but we don't need that as a society.
Why not? Because knowing how everything is going now with technology, people, and I'm going to just say it, I can only see people using that for sex.
You know what? I think there needs to be a broader conversation around, in general, just how some of the things that we enjoy the most in society, and I don't have a list, I haven't done any research on this, but I feel like a lot of it came from people just making something that they wanted to have sex with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it ended up becoming a microwave. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Speaking of sex.
Man, not the microwave. Okay. OnlyFans, man. OnlyFans. They were about to
make a mistake.
They did an okie doke.
OnlyFans, like Tumblr before them, became known as a platform for sex workers. Like, people could go on there, and some people made a lot of money posting nudes or explicit videos of themselves. And there is and always will be a market for that. Honestly, at this point, I think we just need to accept that. Like, porn is a huge, huge industry, and it's always going to have a lot of customers. But OnlyFans decided that they weren't going to allow explicit content on their website anymore. Like, you could still post nude pictures, but they had all of these terms and conditions around what is and what is not considered explicit. And for a lot of the people on that platform, that was going to mean that they couldn't post anymore and they were going to lose their incomes. And on one hand, I get it. Like, we discussed it before a little bit, right? Like, I understand a company maybe not wanting to be known for having that kind of content. But I think for OnlyFans, your name is synonymous with that now. Like, when people hear OnlyFans, they immediately think porn. And I know they tried to put out stuff where we're like, oh, we have chefs and fitness people and whatever. It's like, okay, I mean, yeah, those people are on there, but that is not what you are known for at this point. Like, if you were going to not have porn on there, it should have been that way from the beginning. One, you would not be successful. My personal opinion, but you're not going to be successful with that. Like, sure, there'll be some people that pay to watch a chef cook and learn some recipes, but you're not going to be successful like you are now, for sure. And secondly, like I said, once Beyonce said she might start OnlyFans in that remix, that's what you're known for. Like, that's what you are. So just, to me, just embrace it. If you want to branch off and have some other company that doesn't allow porn and you try to build that, great. You know what I mean? And just even looking back historically, like, look at Tumblr. Like, Tumblr was known for porn. And then they came out and said, oh, we're banning all of that content. Like, literally the day after that ban went into effect, I have never seen another Tumblr page in my life. I've never seen anybody say, check me out on Tumblr. Like, even if it was just a chef or some, a photo blogger just posting photo, I've never seen anybody say, follow me on Tumblr after that. So I don't know. But OnlyFans walked up to that edge and they pulled it back.
I don't even think that, because in the beginning, that's what they said. Oh, we're wanting to have more. Okay, that's what everyone thought. Let me say that. Maybe wires got crossed, but I think Jules had a great explanation on how they do it. Then the CEO came out and was basically like, hey, payment processors won't process any of these payments because we have porn on here. And I'm just like, that shit don't even sound right. Pornhub would be out of business if that was the case. Strip clubs would be out of the business if that makes no sense. What is the issue here? And, he continued this kind of like PR tour, so to speak. And 6 days after that, making that announcement, just went, hey, on Twitter, hey, never mind. All of these people were making these memes. Oh, these chicks got to get a real job now. And the women and other sex workers, let me not just say women, because it's not just women who are the sex workers on there, were just like, okay, we already have to worry about if we're going to get taken advantage of by other people on any of these other sites or whatnot. Now we have to go back out there and try to see what we can do where we built this company, period. Because prior to that, as Jules said, once Beyonce said anything about OnlyFans, everybody flocked to it. Not everything on there is porn. Yes, you have people on there who do tasteful nudes or a little bit more risque than an Instagram account. But you got Patreon for that. What was OnlyFans going to be able to stand out from in that sense right now?
That's what I'm saying. Like, OnlyFans, like, that's who you are. That's your business.
Lean into it.
Yeah, I feel like, you're right. The CEO went on his little press tour or whatever. I feel like the payment companies were definitely like, we didn't say anything about porn. We just asked if it was money, and it was money. So
if it was money.
I mean, you're not trying to process potato chips or something. So, we process payments that are made with money. So money is good for us.
I Dude.
I really feel like investors were like, okay, this sounds good. Yeah, you don't want your company known for porn. Hey, while you out there doing your press tour, can you send us the numbers on that? Like, how much money do we actually make from porn? Oh, 95%. I just made that number up, guys. Don't look that up and be like, oh, you putting out false information. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's 95% though.
Yeah.
And
man, because last year in 2020, $1 billion in payments, just this little site, $1 billion. Are you serious? When they were like, okay, we shutting down, we not doing porn no more. I'm going like, how much would it cost for me to start a fake ass OnlyFans? If you doing $1 billion in payments, I'm doing something wrong. I need to
come out with justadmirers.com. Can you get it? Hey, content creators, I'll give you a better deal. Content creators, I'll give you 50-50 split.
If it's $1 billion, man, come on. Nah. I'm sorry, but I definitely was going like, how would the structure go? What payment process? Come on, dude. You just gonna give that up? Sex workers.
They were.
Yeah. But I do have to say, I am glad for the reason of being able to give these sex workers a place to go where they feel comfortable and also keep them safe, because a lot of the times when this stuff is like breached, or what they've done in the, not OnlyFans, but what the sex workers have done in the past on other sites, like their information is leaked and these people come to their houses and they expect stuff from them. So
right.
Also during the pandemic, what they do, what were they supposed to be able to make anyone? This was a great way to pivot. We had a conversation about this where a friend of mine was dating someone who is a cosplayer.
Yes.
And we were like, okay, what's wrong with that? But apparently the person was not holding their weight in the relationship necessarily, because they were expecting my friend to actually pay for everything and her to be able to live this lifestyle. And it's just like, okay, that's great for my friend because he's put in so much time and effort to build himself into what he is and the job that he has. You cosplay. Okay. Do you make money from that? Only when we have events. Okay. We couldn't do events last year. So what did you do? You could have started. You didn't have to do like.
Didn't have to be nude.
Yeah. But you could have definitely done some, like the photos that she's taken and some of the stuff that she's done definitely would have been OnlyFans material.
Okay.
But that wasn't something that she was just like wanting to do. She was like, just too much work. Oh, okay.
Like you were saying, I'm glad that didn't do it. I'm happy for the sex workers because it is what it is. People are going to do that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad they have a place where they can do it and feel safe, be protected a little bit from a lot of the downsides of working in that industry. And
in any industry, actually.
Yeah, in any industry, right.
Yeah,
and
don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't.
I think what's good about OnlyFans, to me, particularly for them and for anybody else who wants to, any kind of content creator that gets on there, I think it is a good opportunity for you to have control, your own control over what is and what is not put out there. You do have a great amount of control of your own content over that. So in that sense, I fully support OnlyFans. I'm glad they didn't make a mistake and ruin their business.
And when he says support, he's meaning supporting them in their business ventures. I don't think Jules has a subscription on OnlyFans right now.
I don't have any OnlyFans subscriptions right now, but if you guys would like to see a Cool Black Nerd podcast, OnlyFans, let me know. I'm probably still not going to do that.
You know what? We do like whiskey of the month pictures and be like, you want it naked or you want it on the rock?
We're not. No. So you know how I was just talking about that control over the content? I would have to let you know that.
No, it would just be the glass. You could have a glass where it's just like, it's actually.
So we just have a naked glass. That's the naked.
It's a clear glass, or it's got one that's got a Cool Black Nerd on it. That's the one that's not naked. Then you have some that's on the rocks. But yeah, man, I don't know. People is weird out there. Everybody likes different stuff.
Hey, you know what? You're right about that. There's a market
for everything.
For whatever you want to do, somebody will pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. It's not me, but somebody will. Oh, man. I think that's a good place to call it. I think that's a pretty good one. Let's go ahead and call this one an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the Cool Black Nerd podcast. Again, check us out on social media. Always go check out saywhatradio.com. There are several podcasts in our network that I think everybody would enjoy and love. and just have a great time listening to.
Always. We out.